Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time again. It's Friday. It's time for a shop update. I hope your week has been fantastic. I hope you did what you wanted to do and had fun doing it. So let's get to it. All right. Again, these are going to be a lot shorter than that first video. Hopefully, they'll be a lot shorter. Hopefully, we'll try and knock them out as quick as we can. But I want to make sure that I give you the content that I'm promising and make it entertaining, because most of you aren't watching this for, historical sake. You're watching it because you want something fun, So let's get to it, see what happens here. We're going to start out here. We did predominantly 2 cars this week. We did a little bit of stuff on some other things here too. The beginning of the week kind of was a little bit slow. School started for our kids this week, so Monday we were kind of doing some stuff with that, and then ordered up parts, that kind of stuff, returned some phone calls. So it wasn't until about the middle of the week that we really started pushing hard. So we got a lot of work done still. We got a ton of work done still. So let's start out with the Jag XJS. You'll see the carpet kit is sitting there on the hood. Now, before you get all angry at me or start worrying about the owner of the car and how the paint's going to get scratched, understand first and foremost, that's a really expensive carpet kit. It's super, super soft. Can it scratch the paint? Sure. I'm not saying it can't. But that carpet being there is a lot better than that carpet being on this floor. Or even on some of our benches. Our benches are pretty greasy, dirty benches. So it's kind of important to, make sure that the very expensive carpet kit, it's in a very light color, stays clean and nice. This car will get a full detailing before it leaves. So that's why I'm also saying don't worry too much about it, okay? We know how to fix minor scratches and swirl marks and stuff like that. That's easy stuff. Anyway, we've been doing the carpet stuff. Well, I haven't been doing the carpet stuff. I did a little bit, but Christian's been on this week. He's got door cards pretty much done. I think he's having a little bit of trouble with this door card. These door cards aren't in the best of shape, so they're a little bit tricky to get them to go. But he's getting it. He has the one on the passenger side here. It's all done. I'll show you that here in a second. He's fitted up the parcel shelf assembly into the back to make sure everything fits nice, and to kind of get a game plan of how the carpeting system is going to work here. I do apologize about the huge backlighting here. You're just going to have to live with it for a little while. So he's fit. You can see the panel here. This stuff right here. This stuff. That's the partial shelf assembly. He will be that, okay? Get it? That. He'll be eyeballing this, and he's fitted this in here for right now. He's going to just take a look and see what new panels he needs to make for back here, since this has been lowered down. We need to make up new carpet panels back here. He's checking placement. We took the old carpet out to check to see where everything went. We didn't take this car apart, so we don't know where every piece of carpet goes. So we have to kind of lay out the old carpet to see where it fit, and that'll help us figure out the new carpet without getting the new carpet dirty or damaging it or so on and so forth. So he was doing that. He got the door on that side all finished. You can see the new carpet down there. Relatively easy and straightforward to do. However, these door panels are not that great. They're from the 80s. I'm from the 80s. I'm not doing that well. They're not doing that well. It's just how it is, okay? So I think he's knocked it out of the park. I think it looks fantastic. Over here on his bench, he's got another bit of the interior that got covered this week, which is the parcel shelf lid, which is right here, and it looks so supple, so smooth, so nice. So he's got that all done. He's got to put a couple of trim pieces on it, it's ready to go. He's moving right along with it. It's turning out pretty good. One thing that we did notice when we took the doors apart, when he took the doors apart, was all this black stuff. Now this is sound editing. This car went to a stereo shop, a very well-respected stereo shop here in St. Louis, to have a stereo installed. That's what you do when you take a car to a stereo shop. You get a stereo installed. You usually don't go to a stereo shop for like filet mignon and ice cream. Just saying. However, you may pay some filet mignon prices. This is sound editing. Now there's a lot of it. And there's a debate as to whether or not a door would need that much sound deadening to get it to be deadened. But not only is it on the inside structure, if you look through the glass there, it's also on the outer door skin. So these doors have got to weigh 40 pounds more than they used to. We've got Rolls-Royce level doors here. We've got, Mercedes grosser weight of door here. But it's still a Jaguar door, so I think you're probably going to wear the hinges out. That's what's going to happen. It's extensive, guys. It's a lot. The other thing that we noticed, and it's just a pet peeve. Okay, it's just a pet peeve. The amount of sound deadening is a pet peeve. But the next thing I'm going to tell you about is also a pet peeve, and predominantly for mechanics. So I kind of think that stereo guys just like to piss off mechanics by just not doing stuff that a mechanic would be like, could you not? Could you just not do that? Like maybe don't take power from super important systems, or like run a new wire. Don't splice into old stuff. It'd be a nice thing, right? This hole, parts of this hole, and this hole were entirely covered with sound deadening. They weren't holes. They were just a wall of sound deadening. Now, maybe on your competition level audio car, that helps, It's kind of like picking up an extra 5 horsepower in NASCAR, man. You may win the race because of that, okay? And that's great. On this, it's just lazy. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying it's not okay. It's fine. It's just, you got a razor blade. I know you do. Cut it out. Cut the stuff out. That way, when I have to get in there and change the window regulator, which I will have to do eventually, I'm sure, or change out the motor, I don't have to hunt down the hardware that's in that door somewhere that's covered up by black tarry crap, and I don't have to hunt down where the holes are in the door so I can get my hand in there. Just do it right. It's not tough. It's not hard. It's not really even extra work most of the time. Just do it the right way. It's silly. I don't know if that audio shop actually did that door. I'm not trying to throw an audio shop under the bus. There's a few customers here that have actually used this audio shop, so they are a well-loved and well-liked shop. It's too much. It's too much. Anyway, we're cooking along with this one. It's going really, really well. Like I said, after the carpet goes in, the car will get a detailing done to it, and we will figure out what's up with the top mechanisms and stuff like that. The top functions, the windows all function, but they just don't work with the switch. So we think it's the ECM. We bought a used ECM out of a junkyard. It still didn't work. So I'm hoping if we get everything put back together, maybe there's some wire that has to be plugged in to make everything work that doesn't show up on the diagram. Jaguar's really known for that kind of crap. So we'll give it an eyeball afterwards. All of this stuff is accessible from the trunk now, so we don't have to be invasive with diagnostics or repair. Once that's done, probably 2 to 3 weeks, guys. I'm thinking 2 to 3 weeks this car will be out of here. Maybe before, but I don't want to push myself on that one. So 2 to 3 weeks it'll be gone. That will open up some space for another project that's coming in that I told you about. We have another car out at another shop getting some subcontracting work done. It's getting painted because we don't have the time to do all the block sanding and the paint work here on that car. It's on a really, really tight, strict deadline that's very, very important, very sentimental deadline as well. So that one will be back here out of the paint shop in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully that Jaguar's out of here at that time, or at least close to leaving. Now, on to the second car that we worked on. I'm dancing around it right now, guys. I'm dancing around it. Triumph TR3. Last time you saw that, it didn't have fenders, a door, or a sill on it. And now it's got all 4 of those things. Predominant work was done on the passenger side. I do not have a floor for the driver's side yet. I do have the new sill panel, outer sill panel for the driver's side. A lot of work was done, guys. A lot of work was done. It's tough to show sometimes, but we'll start here at the outside. We've got the sill. That's a fresh new moss sill. I did not replace the entirety of the sill. If I explained that last time to you, what I do is if I can save some of the original welding and some of the original panel, I try to. Okay, that's a really prominent thing for me. You're trying to bring these cars back to life, and you're trying to make them look original. And a lot of times, if you replace the entire panel, it's going to be noticeable to people who know these cars. So I try my hardest to try and save panels. The upper part underneath the door of the sill was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. There was no rot. There was no rust. Really, there was only rust on the very lower edge here. Okay, so replaced the whole bottom section of it, cleaned up the inside, the inner sill assembly. That all got cleaned up and treated and coated and all the fun things that you get to do to that. Finished up the dogleg patch here. That we made in-house. You can buy repair for this. Now, not that small of a repair. When you buy the repair panel, it's this whole panel. And I think last time I checked, it's like $500. It's a lot of money. If you don't know how to make patch panels like this is a compound and complex curve. If you don't know how to make a patch panel like that, you may save yourself some time and maybe money just buying this whole panel and cutting out what you need. And you may be able to sell off the remains of the panel that you bought, and somebody will buy it. You know, I'm not saying you're going to get $500 for it, but you may get a couple of bucks for it. Fenders fit okay. They're all right. Their TR3 fenders are always really springy to me. They always seem like they're really... You got to get all the bolts in at the right time and line them up perfectly, and then tighten the bolts down equally and evenly, and then finally it just goes and pops into place. It's very weird to me. I'm not a huge fan of how these mount up and how they fit. So, but that fender is on. It's got a lot of problems in it, lots of dings and dents. So we'll get all those hammered out. Back here behind the fender, and I'll show you on the other side because it's easy to do this. I had to weld in a mount panel. It's a finisher panel. It finishes off the back section of the car here so you can mount up the fender. Looks like this. You ever seen one? I don't know. Goes right here. Okay, pretty simple. I think I have it backwards. So it goes in there, kind of like that. That's how it goes. Okay. I had to weld one of these in on the other side. This is an original one that the back edge has been replaced with a new piece. Again, because I try to save as much of the original. The other thing that has to go on those is you have to use these cages with a square nut. Get welded onto those as well. Square nuts. That's what holds the fender on. Is if you don't put those on, you got to weld the fenders on the back of the car. And I'm not joking. The last guy who restored this welded these fenders to the back of the car. We had to cut them off. A lot of things you wrestle with when you're doing a restoration. Lots of things you're wrestling with. I'll go over those here in a second if you stay with me here. Other things that I did on this, you can't really see them very well. I did a toe board filler panel. The toe board footbox area had some rot. It was about a 1-inch up patch. Cut it straight, made it, welded it in. It's done. It's good. The doors are not gapped. The fenders are not in their final adjustment. These doors aren't gapped. They're not that close. They look better in camera than they do in person. The lower fender up here on the front has some rot you'll see little pinholes, if you can get in there and see that there. You'll see these little pinholes everywhere, okay? That's got to be fixed. And there's two different ways you can do it. You can either cut out and leave kind of the outer outline structure of the fender. We'll get down here again. Let's get down here again. Let's see what we can do. You can either cut out small pieces and weld them in. You can cut out basically outlining the structure pieces of the fender, leaving these in place, leaving these intact, and cut a patch out, or cut a section out and put a patch in. Or you can buy a patch panel for this, which comes about up to here, which is about, I don't know, 12 inches up, cuts across and replaces this whole lower section. Those patches are about 250 bucks. Jesus. Got one right here, okay. Still debating whether or not I'm going to replace that much of the lower fender. It really doesn't need that much of it replaced. I may take a section from that patch panel and just use it. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. Not really a big deal. I want to get that front fender lined up a little bit better. It's actually too far back, but it cannot go any further forward. So these are the problems you got to solve. You can't move the fender forward, but you don't have a big enough gap to make the door open properly, and you can't move the door back because it's already hitting the B pillar or the shut pillar because it's got too tight of a gap. So what do? You get the stretcher out. You put a big bar in between here and you push these two pillars apart and the door fits. That's not the way you do that. That's not how you do that. So that's where we're at. As I said before, you fight a lot of things with these cars, and some of the stuff you're fighting is you're fighting the original fit and finish of these cars. Triumph was not noteworthy for their panel fit and fitment. It's just not a thing. Most British cars are not actually known for their panel fit. You get into Rolls Royces, they're known for pretty good panel fit, for sure. But we're talking, you have to get the Rolls Royces to get consistent quality panel fit. These cars were made for far too long on tooling that was very worn out. By the time this car was made, it was worn out. It's not that the workers didn't care about the cars, they did, but there was kind of a, hey, get the car done, get the car done, get the car done. So getting these gaps perfect was not on the itinerary of the production side of this car. Not only are you fighting that, but you are also fighting when you're doing restorations. Every person who's ever worked on that car since it left the factory, and all their terrible repairs that they've done over the years. And I have seen them all. That Maserati that's in the other room, that had plaster of Paris making up the sills. The sill was made out of plaster of Paris. This is not a structural plaster. It does not hold structure well. I've seen fiberglass, I've seen newspaper, I've seen chicken wire, I've seen expanding foam. I've seen it all. I've seen it all in these cars, and I will tell you that it gets to be a bigger uphill battle the more people who have touched the car or restored the car over the years. So you're fighting those two things right from the get-go when you do a restoration is how well did the car company make the damn thing, and how well did everybody else who has ever worked on it work on it. After that, you're only limited by your own talents. So, you know, quit your job, start doing this, and you'll get really good at it. It'll take you like 15 TR3s before you're actually good at a TR3, but you know, whatever, it's fine. Some of you are quicker learners, so maybe it'll take you, 3. I don't know. Could. Anyway, that's it. That's the only stuff I got for you. I was going to talk about a game plan for what happens next on this, but in all honesty, you should know already, I keep doing metalwork until I'm done doing metalwork. I don't have a timeline for this. I don't have a deadline for this in terms of like, I needed to be in the paint booth by X day. No, it doesn't. I'm not setting a goal for myself in 4 weeks. I want all the metalwork totally, completely finished. I'm not doing that. Work on it every day till it's done. Jaguar, however, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. maybe it'll be gone. We'll see. We'll see. So that's it. That's it for this Friday, folks. I'll see you all next Friday. Bye.